So going forward, I have just accepted another assignment and I will share with you where my next assignment is going to be. Drum roll, please. So if you are interested in seeing a vlog for that assignment, and I'm probably thinking you're gonna want to see that. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylena. On this channel, I will share some of my experiences as it relates to nursing, give you some tips and tricks, maybe a little bit of helpful info. And starting in January, I will be vlogging my experience as an SRNA, aka Student Registered Nurse Anesthetist. So this is going to be a series. And I haven't edited this yet, so I don't know how many, but I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3. In this particular video, I'm gonna tell you where I'm going next and kind of do day in the life of me as a travel nurse. If any of that interests you, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single video, because going forward, I am going to be sharing my experience on my next assignment. And again, I'll tell you where I'm going shortly. And then closer to January, you'll see my preparation as it pertains to me becoming an SRNA. So if you're just curious about all things nursing, maybe you just want to follow my journey, thanks for the support. I'm glad to have you. So again, if any of this interests you, please continue watching, hit the subscription bell, and here we go. So a typical day for me would be getting up around 5 p.m. and getting ready, showering, all that good stuff, and then I would head to Starbucks because on work days I normally treat myself to coffee at Starbucks.
Hello, welcome to Starbucks.
Hi, can I get a tall pumpkin spice latte with only 2 shots of the flavor, and that's it. Thank you. You too. And then I would head over to the hospital. And I do work in the ICU. So the hospital at this assignment was lovely, more modern hospitals that I've been to. I would make my way to clock in, and then I would probably go and get dressed. So normally when I get there, I usually give myself, like 10-15 minutes just to clock in and get changed, especially since this was during the pandemic. We weren't wearing our scrubs that we would wear home. They would let us wear scrubs that we could just leave there that would get laundered. So I don't normally come with enough time to look at my patients, but that's not a bad practice. I usually just get report and then I will look up my patients after that. When I was a newer nurse, I used to come in like 30 minutes, 45 minutes early to look up my patients, and there's nothing wrong with that. And some people who are experienced nurses still do that. It's just not how I spend my time anymore. So after I've gotten report, then I would assess my patient, and depending on whether or not they have medications due soon, I would either take that in with me while I do the assessment, or I would go and get them after. And then after I've done my assessment, then I would just do my first round of charting, which usually takes the longest, and then get ready for rounds, because in ICU, you usually have an interdisciplinary round, or for me at night, it was just usually the intensivist or the provider, where we just kind of recap, or I would present the patient who was new to the provider, just, why are they there? What are their issues? What happened during the day? Did I need anything? This particular assignment, the goal for night shift was just to make sure that the patient got through the night. Don't tend to do a lot of changes during the night, so rounds are typically very short. And then after that, I would get ready for the main med pass, which at this location was 10 o'clock. So I would head into the Pyxis room and find my patient, pull their meds, and proceed to administer it to them. So here I'm showing you just a variety of medications that I needed for the patient at that time. Some of them were scheduled, some of them are continuous, like the fentanyl. The fentanyl was just basically a refill. So I did scan the patient's bracelet, and if you're a nurse or a nursing student, you are well aware that we usually, scan the patient and do all of this stuff bedside, but because I have my mask on, it shows you that I was about to go into a C19 room. I did scan the patient's bracelet, and then I came back out to scan the medications that I had for that patient. And because I only pull one patient's medication at a time, then I don't have any issues with giving the patient the wrong medication. If that's any different than what you all are doing at your hospital, then leave a comment below, because I'm curious to hear how different hospitals do things differently during the pandemic. So after the first med pass, then any number of things could happen. A lot of the things that I would expect to do would be to give both of my patients head-to-toe baths. So throughout the shift, I'm constantly looking at the vitals, but I have to chart them once an hour. So thankfully, the monitors communicate with the computer system, so I don't have to write all the vitals down every single hour. And then I also have to keep an eye on my drips, and thankfully also the IV pumps communicate with the system, so it will automatically populate like how many cc's of each drug the patient is getting when I click on that particular column. If you're a nurse, then you know what I'm talking about, and if you're not, then you don't, but just know that it's very convenient. Just basically monitoring. Sometimes there's a phone call or two that I have to take from family members just to check the status of their loved ones. So eventually there's going to be labs. One of the hospitals that I worked for, you could get the morning labs anytime after midnight. This particular hospital, I never really found out what the official time was. It seemed like a lot of the staff nurses seemed to get their morning labs between 4 and 5, but I'm just used to getting them around 3, just so that I have time to be able to treat anything. For example, if the potassium is low, magnesium's low, phosphorus, something like that, then I have enough time to get an order if I need it to get the patient that supplement, in time for me to give report to the morning nurse. Anything that I can do to help the day shift nurses, I will, because I used to work day shift and I know how busy it can be. Normally the morning labs consist of a CBC, which is a complete blood count, a BMP, which is the basic metabolic panel, which shows all of your chemistries, and that's a lavender top and a green top. And then you would also add in an order for a magnesium and a phosphorus, and then whatever special labs might be needed for that particular patient. In this particular clip, I'm grabbing a yellow top, and I can't remember what I needed it for on that particular patient, but these are what the lab tubes look like. So then I would send it over to the lab, and then eventually it would populate, and then I could base my treatment from there. So what else? 3 times per shift, I will take the patient's temperature. Oftentimes I've come in and a patient has a fever, so of course, if it's not high enough for me to treat, then I'm not gonna wait 4 hours to check it again. Depending on how high it is, I'll probably check it in an hour or 2. And then if I do have to treat it, then I will definitely check it within an hour to see what kind of progress we're making, to see whether or not I need to do another intervention. You might have to chart a head-to-toe assessment every 2 hours, like one of my hospitals, or like this last hospital, you chart it every 4. There's certain things that you have to chart every couple of hours. So I try to get everything that I know that I have to do done in advance, just to plan for the unexpected, because it never fails, and I don't know why. If you all know why, comment below, but I don't know why. If a patient is going to go south, it's usually around change of shift. And then it's also really important to try to get a break in if you can, especially your lunch. In Florida, we get 30 minutes. I think I've heard in places like California, they have mandatory 1 hour lunch. I wouldn't even know what to do with a whole hour lunch at this point in my career, but it's very important to make sure that you are eating something. Sometimes maybe even eating earlier than you ideally want to, because you never know what's going to take place later on, and you might miss that window of opportunity. Usually starting around 4 or 5 o'clock, I try to wrap things up, start, measuring everything, whether it be the urine, chest tubes, anything like that, just to, start to do my final documentation. That's closer to the 5, 6 o'clock hour. but I start preparing for the day nurse to come in. So, you know, if there's tube feeds that are going to be replaced, then I'll get the bottle and the tubing ready. I would have checked all of my IV lines, restocked supplies like the thermometer probe covers, or, you know, anything like that. Just trying to be good to my fellow nurse. So basically that is the day in my life as a travel nurse. So if that's significantly different than your day, then let us know below. I would love to hear your comments on, you know, how you carry out your day. So going forward, I have just accepted another assignment, and I will share with you where my next assignment is going to be. Drum roll, please. I have just accepted an assignment in Honolulu, Hawaii. So if you are interested in seeing a vlog for that assignment, and I'm probably thinking you're gonna wanna see that, then please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. So if you've been to Hawaii yourself, please comment below any of the places that I absolutely must see, any of the places that I must eat, anything that I must do while I am there. I am going to be there at this time because, you know, contracts can be canceled at any time for any reason, but I am scheduled to go for 8 weeks. So I am going to be looking for plenty of things to do because this is my first time on that side of the world, and I am so excited and I can't wait to share it with you all. So my next video in my Miami series is going to include footage from my tours of a few places that I'm considering moving into when I move to Miami. And I haven't decided exactly when that's going to be. We don't have to be down there until May of 2022, but I am going to move in a little bit beforehand. So if you want to see some of the places that I'm considering, stay tuned for that video. And then I'll also release details about a small giveaway that I am going to do. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next one.